Thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Sean Goldsmith. I'm the North America Marketing Manager here at Bonita, and I'm joined here by my colleague Philippe Oziel. Philippe is our technical evangelist for the entire company at Bonita, and when he first started, he was actually a consultant, and he would go on site to help each of our clients with their processes, and he would help them with development work. He's worked on nearly 100 BPM projects throughout his time at Bonita. And for the last year or so, he's been going to conferences and speaking on our behalf about BPM and developing your own applications. So without further ado, Philippe, take it away.
Thank you, Sean. Hello, everybody. So I'm here today to talk to you about upgrading from Bonita BPM Community to Subscription Edition. And I'm here today to convince you how easy it is to make this move. My presentation will be twofold. I'm going to start with a quick overview with slides to present you the upgrade procedures. So I'll be talking about the details about how this can be done, what are the requirements, and then I'll spend most of the presentation time doing actually a live demonstration of an upgrade. And during this demonstration, we'll focus on two main aspects. I will first describe the actual upgrade procedure, and then I will present you the immediate upgrade benefits that you get just after the upgrade. All right, so let's just start with that. Let's first see the upgrade. What is an upgrade actually? That's the first question we're going to ask ourselves. An upgrade at Bonita is considered as moving from Community Edition to Subscription Edition, and that is without changing the version you're running of Bonita BPM. Upgrade is actually possible since version 7. Prior to that, it was a bit more difficult to do. So when you upgrade, you move to the same version, but you change edition. This upgrade will target two things. You have to upgrade your runtime data. That means your platform running with your Bonita instance, with your cases, your processes. And that also means upgrading your development resources. So that is your process diagrams, your connectors, any kind of development you've made, your forms, your pages, your applications. So the upgrade covers both of these aspects, runtime data and development resources. The upgrade is not to be confused with a migration, so be careful with the two terms. A migration is increasing your Bonita BPM version, so it's moving to a more recent build of Bonita BPM. In any case, both upgrade and migration imply zero data loss. In all cases, we cover you for your data. You're not going to lose any runtime data or not development resources. Now, the thing is, you can combine, of course, a migration with and follow it by an upgrade. But again, my upgrade, same version, migration, increasing of version. All right. So now let's ask ourselves, why upgrade? Well, there are two main reasons for upgrading. The first one is, well, the obvious one. That's to benefit from the subscription edition features. I won't list all the subscription edition features here. This will be a bit tiring and not very interesting, maybe just to list them. I'm going to regroup them by themes, and I'm going to give you some examples on different themes. So we're targeting 5 main themes with the subscription edition features. The first one is productivity and quality. An example of that would be to deploy the team repository. That's one of the features from the subscription edition. The team repository allows several developers of Bonita BPM to collaborate on the same project. It allows you to put SVN subversion repository to share process diagram, forms, and other development resources. Another example, another theme is runtime flexibility. For runtime flexibility, we propose features such as live update. Live update means you can change some settings of your processes at runtime without any interruption. For example, you can change your process forms of any running process instances. I will actually demo that during the presentation. You can also change connectors. You can change all sorts of things without any downtime while your platform is running. Another theme is monitoring and reporting. So for monitoring, you have case visualization, so you can look at your process diagram and figure out exactly where your process instances have pending task, failed task, or any kind of representation of your process. You can also look at reporting, giving you reports of your engine execution metrics. Then you have the performance and scaling theme. So this has to do with things such as clustering. For example, if you have a Bonita platform that contains critical applications, you may want to duplicate it, so create a cluster of several Bonita instances. If you're running cluster, that means if one of your cluster nodes or one of your installation goes down, the other nodes will take over the load and there will be no interruption in terms of services to your end users. So that's one of the examples of performance scaling. And last main theme is system integration capabilities. For this, one of I think the best examples is the integration with an authentication system. Most of the companies we've worked with have authentication systems in place already. So they have, for example, user repositories such as LDAP or Active Directories, and sometimes they also have single sign-on systems in place, allowing to share logins across multiple applications. So with the subscription edition, you can first start to synchronize users and groups with a tool called the LDAP Synchronizer. This takes users from LDAP or Active Directory and converts them into Bonita users. You can also use the LDAP or Active Directory authentication, meaning you don't have to store the passwords of your user in Bonita. And you can even go further and deploy single sign-on to share the login with your existing system applications. So all of these are themes and features coming from the subscription edition. But there's also another reason why you need to upgrade. That's for the professional support. This is something that is less tangible, that's maybe less appealing at first, but our customers are pretty happy with that. The professional support involves a support team from Bonitasoft covering you 24/7. So this means you have a team dedicated to help you when you have bugs on your platforms. These guys are BPM experts, so they know about the product. We have a shared knowledge base of all the issues that customer ran into, and they can even help you, assist you to deploy patches for critical issues on really critical processes. Right. These are the two main reasons to why to upgrade: the features and the professional support. Now, I've been talking a bit about upgrade, but how easy, how simple is that? Well, that's the next question. How do we upgrade? So the upgrade is actually decomposed in two different environments. We have different procedures for these environments. The first one is the development environment. That's the studio. So in the studio, you'll have your process diagrams, you have your forms, you have your applications skeletons, you have your data model. This environment generally sits on a developer's machine. Each of your developers will have a studio. Now, this environment is very easy to upgrade. You only have to export your resources from your existing community installation and import them on a new subscription studio. While the resources are imported, there's a script that runs that will automatically convert them to subscription resources. And you don't have anything to do, it's magic, it works. This is true from version 5, actually nothing really new here. The upgrade was always possible in terms of Studio. Now, what is really new and what we've been focusing our efforts since the beginning of the year is actually for the runtime environment. So the runtime environment is composed actually of two Bonita BPM components. You have on one hand the execution engine, which computes the running cases, process definitions, and you have also the portal, which is the user interface to access the execution engine. Both of these components are grouped under the name platform. So the Bonita platform is the execution engine and the portal. Now, this runtime environment is generally where your critical data resides. And this is what is the most important to upgrade. And up till Bonita 7, there was no easy way to upgrade your environment from community to subscription environment. Now we've been focusing on this, and now it is very simple to upgrade. I will actually show you that during the demonstration. So the concept is that you start with your existing instance with the community environment, community edition. We will extract some data out of it, and we'll transfer these data to the subscription environment. And when the subscription platform starts, it will automatically migrate your data for compatibility with subscription platform. Now, the process is transparent. There's almost no interruption of service, and you can resume your ongoing cases with the subscription edition. And even better, you benefit directly from subscription features on your community edition data. So we'll see just that when I show you the demonstration. Talking about that, it's time now for the demonstration. I will actually start just one more slide before actually going to demonstration. I will give you the general scenario I'm going to demonstrate. So the purpose of today's demonstration is to demonstrate, of course, the upgrade. I will start with a Bonita BPM installation of the Community Edition on Tomcat 7. This is just actually the standard bundle we provide on the community website. So it's a prepackaged version ready to use, but is available for download. The only difference is that I have preloaded it with some data. So I have several ongoing cases. I'm going to show you all of that are ready to act as some kind of production platform. So you can imagine this is a production platform with more data, but have already this sample platform ready for use. Now, on this platform, I'm going to apply the upgrade. So I will show you the different steps needed to upgrade the platform, and I will end up with the same platform running Bonita BPM 7 subscription still on Tomcat 7. And we'll see that we have kept the data from the community installation and we'll be able to continue and resume the ongoing cases. So it seems simple like that, but you're going to see the different steps. All right, now let's get rid of the slides for now and let's switch to the actual demonstration. But first, I'm going to start by doing a quick overview of what processes I have on my platform. This here is the Bonita BPM Studio, and I'm showing right now the procurement request process. This process is part of the sample process anybody can download from the Studio homepage. Here I'm showing the Studio homepage. You can find these examples here in the homepage of the Studio, and this is the procurement example, this one coming out from the Studio. So there are several processes in the procurement example. This one that I'm showing right now is the main diagram, the main process diagram for this sample. Just to describe it fairly quickly, there's a case start form under which the procurement requester specify his needs, saying, for example, I need this item and I need it with this particular settings. Selects also a list of suitable suppliers, invite them to contribute to the procurement request. These suppliers will reply with quotations, say I can provide you this good for this particular amount. And then last step, the requester will review the quotations provided by the suppliers and select the final supplier for the procurement request. So that's a very simple process, but still it's a valid process. Now, I'm going to use this example process on my application. I'm going to show you now the actual installation. So this here is my installation of my community edition. I'm going to start. This is the this is the Tomcat bundle that you can download also from the community website. So I'm just starting it right now. We'll take a couple of seconds to start, and we'll log in on this one. Just takes a few seconds to start. All right. Now I will connect on this one. And there we go. All right, so we are now logged in. We are not ready to log in, sorry. I will connect with Walter Bates. I have imported some users from the default organization of Bonita. Now, here we can see that we have already several cases running, several tasks pending. These are the tasks coming from the procurement request process. And I have also deployed the procurement example application. This here is the application you get with the example. So we already have some data ongoing procurement requests with some details. And this is the actual environment I'm going to upgrade to subscription edition. So you can see it's not an environment that contains no data. So I'm going to show you how I can upgrade all of this and how I can resume the ongoing process instances. All right, so I'm going to log out now. I'm going to shut down my Tomcat and I'm going to start the upgrade. To start the upgrade, I'm going to install create a new installation of Bonita BPM subscription. I am taking the same bundle but for the subscription edition, so it's also Timecast. It's more or less the same structure. I'm unzipping it. I also generated a license to activate my bundle, so I'm going to copy this license in my subscription installation. So I'm going to take it and paste it in here, licenses. There we go. All right, so my installation is ready. Now, to follow the procedure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open two windows so that you can follow. I'm going to have the subscription edition on my right, and I'm going to have the community edition on my left. So both of these two installations share the same structure. A couple of files, of course, are different. And the first thing I need to do now to start my migration is to initialize my subscription platform. So I'm just going to start without changing anything. So this will initialize the database. It will initialize a couple of files that are not ready. I'm going to start. I'm going to check my license, and I'm going to log in first just to make sure everything works. This is the first run, so it takes 40, 50 seconds. So this new installation will contain nothing. Actually, it won't contain any user or anything, so I cannot log in anymore with WalterBates. I'll have to use the default user, which is install. That's a technical user that comes with any brand new installation of Bonita BPM. Now, if I log in with this user, I get the warning that this is a technical user, and I can see that I have no users registered. This is a blank new installation, nothing here. All right, so I can close my installation. I've seen that my basic installation is okay. I'm going to shut down my Tomcat here, and I'm going to apply the migration procedure. To apply the migration procedure, the first step is actually to copy the database. So because we're running the bundle here on both sides, we are using the default database here, which is H2. H2 is a file-based database. It means you have nothing to install. It's quite convenient for testing, but of course, it's not something you would use in production environments. So here, to copy the database, I'm just going to have to copy a file, which is quite kind of easy. But on a real installation, you would have to do more than that. You would have to point this to another database or the same database on the subscription installation. Here, I have drilled down to the platform working directory of my community edition. I can see that I have two files here. I have Bonita Journal.h2db, that's the database of my execution engine, and I have another database for my business data. If I do the same thing on the subscription edition, I'll have also the same folders, and I will also have my two databases, business data and journal. Now, I'm going to take my databases from my community edition. I'm going to copy them to replace and overwrite my databases on my subscription edition. Next step is to copy the process definitions that I have installed on my community edition. So I'll take them from here. Here, notice I have two folders. One folder which is process. This shows me the different processes that I have already deployed. And another folder called Data Management Client, which contains some additional information on my business database, my BDMs. So I'm going to take these files and I'm going to paste them in the same folder on the other side. Notice again that here we have also the process folder, which is empty because this is a brand new installation per subscription environment. So I'm going to take Data Management Client and process, and I'm going to copy them simply over here. There we go. We're almost done. One last thing we need to do is to clear this profiles.md5 file. This contains a cache of the portal menus. By clearing it, we'll force the engine to update it and we'll force a deployment of new menus for the subscription edition. That's it. We're done. I just have now to restart my subscription edition and we'll see the results. Of course, everything I did here is documented on our official documentation. I'm not inventing anything here. All right, so let's try to log in again. So what the engine actually doing now, it's actually not showing here in the console here. It's actually detecting that it has a community database and it's automatically applying the upgrade to the different tables and different resources when it starts. So the startup on the subscription here will be just a bit longer than usual for the first run. Well, not that much because I don't have any data, but anyway. Now I can log in this time with Walterbase because I have transferred my user from the community edition. And we'll see again the same cases we had and tasks we had in the community edition. So let's log in right now. And here we go. We have the task inbox and we have our cases. Now, how can I make sure I'm running the performance edition? I can just check in settings and about. I can see now that I'm running a performance edition here. All right. So what changed? Are we still is our data still okay? Well, we can check. We can just check again the procurement application, see if it's still working. It's still here. I can refresh. I can still see it. My data is still here. It's the same data. So let's go even further. Let's see now if we can resume our pending cases. Can we move forward in the process? So here I have taken my first request for 10 televisions, and I'm gonna complete actually the quotation for Duff Company. So I'm just going to open the form. This here shows me a process step. So we're on the step complete quotation. To show you on the process diagram, this is actually this step here. And I'm going to complete. I'm just going to finish the entire process with the next step also. Actually, I'm going to close this. All right, let's continue. So I'm going to say these TVs, I can give you them for 10K. I have them in stock. All right, and I'm going to accept the procurement request. This gives me back the listing here. I can see my answer here, 10K. I have them in stock, and I'm just going to move to the last step of the process and finish the process. So here I'm going to select Duff Company as the suitable selected supplier for my procurement request, and I'm going to accept their quotation here. And we're good. Now we can see that the procurement request now is completed. We've selected Duff Company as for the procurement of 10 televisions. Now this is the application, and if we check also the cases here, if I do a refresh, we'll see less tasks here. Tasks are gone. If we look also at the done tasks, we've seen our two latest tasks here we completed, and same thing for the cases. We can see we have one more archived case 26 seconds ago. So we've seen here that we're able to continue the processes that were ongoing. We're going to go now even further. We're going to have a look at the benefits now of the subscription edition. What is new? What we didn't have actually in the latest installation? Well, we didn't have this administration menu here, which is quite convenient. That's the monitoring view. This view here now gives you an accurate panorama of the different processes and the cases that are running. Here we can see the current state of the platform. We can see how many processes are failing, how many processes are ongoing, and we can see the detail per process definition. That's the first thing. Now, we're going to go even further now. We're going to explore a bit customization. We've seen this application which doesn't look quite appealing, so we're going to fine-tune it. With Subscription Edition, we have additional features. We can customize our application, and we can change the application layout, and we can change its theme. So what I'm going to do now is going to add a new layout. I already have a layout for our procurement application. I'm going to take this procurement app layout, and I'm going to deploy it, and we're going to update our application. So that's our procurement application. And now I'm going to see these two fields that I can change on the subscription edition. So I can fine-tune my application to use the layout I chose that I built with the UI designer and the theme I want from a list of built-in themes. Of course, I can also import my own themes here. So this has to do with the flexibility theme. We can now refresh the application, and we can see now our application looks way better. We now have our logo, we have another set of colors, and of course everything still runs fine. So that's the first thing. We can change the appearance of our different components, be it application, be it the portal. We can also fine-tune the look of the portal, change the colors and the menus of the portal. And another thing we can do also is benefit from advanced subscription edition features, such as advanced widgets. So I'm gonna start a subscription edition studio. Just take me a second to start it. My studio is starting right now, and before it starts, I can actually show you the new form. So my listing here is a bit simple here. I don't have anything to sort. I don't have any search features, so I'm gonna deploy one of the advanced widgets we have with Subscription Edition. So I have built a new page to replace the procurement listing. So I'm gonna update this procurement listing with a page that was made with advanced widgets. So I'm gonna take it. It's actually procurement request listing and this one. So I'm gonna update it and we'll see the result right away. Now if I refresh my page here, we'll see the advanced widget. All right, so it's still the same data, but we have a couple of things that changed. First, we now have a table which is sortable. It can also be filtered. So if I filter on DUF, for example, I have my only row with DUF. And it's also paginated. So here we can have multiple pages of the table. That's the data table we have. It's an advanced widget from Subscription Edition. Another widget from Subscription Edition is the chart widget. Here I'm showing off a pie chart of my different requests grouped by status. I can customize this, of course, to show bars and other stuff. So these are advanced widgets, and now my studio is started. I can show you the advanced Subscription Edition UI designer. So it's more or less the same UI designer, except you have now the option to create fragments. So you can create blocks of inside your forms and reuse them. For example, here I have a fragment of request details. This fragment is actually present in multiple forms. So it's present actually in here in complete quotation. You have this fragment here with request details and several fields under it. And the fact that we have a fragment allows us to copy paste this template basically around and have a single place where we can modify it. Now, if I change this template here, the changes I made here will be followed in all the forms that use this fragment. Now, I'm gonna also use another feature from Subscription Edition. I'm gonna apply live update on my forms. So I'm gonna take another form of my process. I have actually the form to review my procurement requests, and I'm gonna change it. Here, notice that's not exactly the same version I have deployed. If I show you the version I have here, it's for the review pending for review form, this one. It doesn't show the counter of quotations here. So let's imagine this form works okay, but my end users are complaining that either there is a bug or I need to add more details to help them fill it. So if I'm running Community Edition, I have to redeploy a whole new process version. So this takes time. This is a problem for ongoing cases, but here on the Subscription Edition, I'm able to look at my form, modify it to add, for example, this counter of number of quotations. I'm able to export my form and I'm able to update it live on the running process instance, even if it's not the case start form. Let's just do that. So I'm going to look at my process. I'm going to look at my procurement request process. I'm going to look at the details here, all its configuration. And under the configuration section, I have forms. Here I can see all the different forms that compose my process. I can see the case start form, I can see the overview form, and the different forms for the tasks. If I look at my form resources here, I'm able to update them. So the one I want to change is actually the procurement review quotation form. I'm going to check it, and I'm going to upload the new version here. Here I have my new version. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to upload it. All right. Now, if I look back at my form and I refresh this page, actually, if I reselect it here, I'll see my new form here with the counter here. Of course, this is just a minor update, but it gives you an idea of how much you can change the form. You can, of course, remove entire section of the form. You can really change totally the look and feel of the form while the process is still running. The only constraint you have is to be compliant with the contract of the process. For this particular step here, we have a contract. If I open my studio, I'll show you. Actually, yep, here. I can change the form in any ways I want. I just have to make sure I follow the contract. The contract is basically a set of inputs required to execute the step. So as long as I provide a selected supplier here, I can change the form as I want. So I can change data here the way I want. I don't have to worry about the look and feel, the data that is displayed. I just need one selected supplier, so this one, or none if we abort. As long as you respect the contract, you can change the look and the form of your running process instance. One last thing we can do also with the subscription edition is to benefit from the responsive features of our forms. That means here I have a quite big form here, a quite big page, I mean, and it's okay if I look at it on a large computer screen. Now, if I look at it on a tablet or a mobile phone, this won't fit. But with the subscription edition, we have the capability to create forms that adapt and are responsive. So here, if I reduce my resolution size, here notice that the components stack. Here I'm looking at the resolution close to a tablet, and my form still looks okay. That's because I use the responsiveness of Bootstrap that is provided here. You can set up and fine-tune your form for different resolutions. If I look actually at my request listing here, this is the one looking at the widescreen, and if I look at the one on the tablet, you can see that the components are stacked, but are not exactly showing the same way. So I can fine-tune the look of my form depending on my resolution. This is a convenient feature if you're addressing mobile or tablets. Back to the other things that you can benefit from subscription, let's jump to another subject and let's have a try to deal with critical process, and let's try to play with error management. So on my platform here, I have deployed another process that I haven't started yet. I have deployed a failing process. So what good is it? Well, the interest of this particular process is that we're going to make it fail, and we're going to see how we can recover from an error on this. So I'm going to start it. This tells me this process contains a demo connector which will fail. So imagine this process contains a connector that is invalid. And this process will fail because of the error in the connector. So if I start it, I cannot see it here. Well, what is wrong? Why cannot see the next task of my process? So let's go in admin. Now in admin, we can see now we have a case with a failure here. We have a marker saying there's one case with failure. If we want to look now at more details, we can see, oh, here it is. Failing process has one case with failure. But where is this failure? We can look actually now at the diagram visualization. Oh, this tells me there's an error on this particular step. This step is an error. So let's try to analyze more what is wrong. Going now in the list of cases for this particular process, we can see our process instance here. That's my first process instance of failing process. And there is one node, so that's one step with a failure. Let's try to look more details. We can see my failing step here that is failed. And we can see that this particular step has a connector called demo connector which failed. Now we can go even further. We can discover what is the cause of the failure. If I click on that, I will see a Stacktrace with a clear error message. Oh, my connector demo version 1.0.0 failed. Oh, I need to update my connector. That's exactly what I had in mind when I created the connector. I will need a version of my connector to make it work. Right, no problem. I have a feature called live update, so I can change my connector implementation and deploy a version 2 that will work, that contains the bug fix. So with that particular stack trace, we're able to identify the cause of our error. We're able to diagnose quickly why our process failed. Let's now deploy the new version of the connector, which works. So I'm going to look at my process here again, my process definition. I'm going to look at its configuration, and I will look actually at its connectors. I have one connector that this process uses. It's called demo connector. It's using version 1.0.0, and oh, it's using the wrong package here. It's failing package. So let's take another one. Let's update it. Let's change it. So I'm going to upload the working version here, connector working implementation, and we're going to see if this version 2.0 makes any good. So I'm updating it, reloading page, and if we look at our connectors again, we now have version 2.0, which is working implementation. Okay, so now we have fixed the connector, but what is going on with the running case? Can we fix it? Yes, we can. So let's go back to our cases. We have our failing process case, which contains the failed node. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at my failed step with still my demo connector. And now with the error management features, I have the ability to skip this task or to replay it. So I'm going to replay it because I don't want to lose my data. I'm going to check my demo connector, which failed. And I'm going to be able to replay just this particular connectors and the ones that are after, if there were some. And then we go. Now, if I go back to my user listing, I can now resume my process execution and complete the failing step, which is now ready and fixed. And now I have my nice form of the message, thanks for fixing the demo connector. I can complete my case as if nothing had happened. There we go. And we can see now that our case is now archived. It went well, it's completed, everything went fine. So this short example here is here to illustrate the flexibility you have when you deal with errors on the critical process. You don't lose any data and you're able to resume from critical errors. Of course, there are plenty more things you can do to deal with errors. Here I showed you the connector hot live update, but you can also apply some changes on different aspects of the connector. If I take the procurement request, for example, you can also update scripts. In your process definition, you have script in different places. Here on the step, for example, review, quotation, and select separ, you have different bits of Groovy scripts that are located in different places of your connector, of your process. Here with this interface, you're able to live update these small scripts and you can fix them while the process is still running. So this is also quite convenient to deal with errors. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is something that is directly here once you migrate to the subscription edition. To upgrade, sorry, to the subscription edition. You have access now to a new view here called Analytics. Analytics will allow us to plot the data coming from our execution engine. This means you can carry data from the subscription from the community installation and plot it on a chart. We have 4 built-in reports here that are already installed. Of course, you can later install your own, but the default reports here are already using our engine data. So if I open one of them, I'll be able to see my data coming from the community edition. Here we have the list of cases that were created in the past days. Of course, I don't have much here because it's a demo installation, but if you were running a real production environment, you would have a real visibility on the past, even before the upgrade. And you can look and drill down in all your cases and look for more details. So these are things that are working directly after you have upgraded. These are all features that don't require any development. They're already here. You just have to activate the subscription edition. So that's about it. I have showed you a couple of features, not all of them from the subscription edition, but I think these are the ones that are really the most helpful and the easiest to benefit from after applying an upgrade. It's now time for me to conclude, so I'm going back to the slides. And well, during this webinar, I have showed you how easy it is to upgrade. You have seen that it takes something like 5 minutes to upgrade. Of course, I was using a simple platform. Most of the effort would be to customize the installation if you had some specific requirements, but it's not that long. And then the upgrade itself is very short. And I also showed you how you can benefit very rapidly from subscription edition features without having to develop anything once you have upgraded. So I hope I have convinced you that it's a good choice to upgrade. Of course, if you want to learn more about the upgrade, you can look at our documentation. If you want to learn more also about the subscription edition features, you can contact our sales rep going through the website. It's now time for Q&A, so I would like to thank you again for your attention, and I will now take questions from you. Come on, don't be shy. I'm open for questions. All right. Well, the question, can I briefly demo the mobile portal features? All right, let's do that. So what I showed previously was the responsiveness of the application pages. So here, this one is showing how a custom page can be resized. Now, if I'm talking just about the portal has also another mode here dedicated for mobile. So I'm going to show this mobile aspect. I'm just going to show it on a small window just to have something close to a mobile resolution. And here we go. So this is the mobile app. Of course, it's a bit less powerful than the actual um, full screen or desktop application, but you can do exactly the same thing. You can create process instances, you can look at cases, and you can execute your steps in your forms. This is the mobile application. Another question, can you live update connector configuration, for example, as SOAP and SOAP details? This depends on how you have configured it. If you have used parameters, you'll be able to do that. Another thing that can be live updated from the process settings here. If I look at my procurement request, well, actually I don't have any here, but you have access to something called parameters. And these parameters can also be changed at runtime. So you'll be able to change the parameters and replay the connector to execute it again. This will allow you to change SOAP connector parameters. Another question, can you live update the process diagram? So not exactly. If you take a process diagram such as this one, you're not able to change a step or remove it. What you can do is you can skip some tasks, just like you had actually on the case view, task view. If I take this, I'm able to actually it needs to be in error to skip it, but if you have some tasks in error, you can skip them. You can also benefit from something called the manual task or ad hoc tasks. You're able also to add some subtasks. So here, for example, I have a task called review quotation and select supplier. Now my process is quite rigid. There's a specific use case maybe I haven't thought of when I created the process design. I need a couple more steps. So my end user is able to add some subtasks. Basically, it's a free mode when you can specify a title, description, priority, due date, and assign to someone else. You can specify several subtasks. These subtasks will appear in the inbox of the people we're assigned to. These people were able to complete them, and you will be able to view them here. That's the biggest flexibility we have. We cannot change entirely the process diagram. If you change the process diagram, it will be more likely a new diagram version, new process version. Any other questions? Okay, I have another questions dealing with the cloud. So how can I deploy my Bonita platform on the cloud if I'm a service provider, if I want to deploy, for instance, a SaaS installation? So to deal with that, actually, there's one feature which is made for that. That's multi-tenancy. If you're running the community edition, for example, you have one platform equals one environment. You only have one set of data on this environment. Now, with the community edition, you have the capability to create extra tenants, meaning if you're a service provider for a SaaS company, you can create a first tenant for company A, customer A, sorry, with its own organization and its own processes. You can also create another tenant B for customer B and its own organization and users. These different tenants will be hermetically partitioned, so people won't mess around with data from across tenants. This is something that can be done with the subscription edition. And of course, this tenant can be updated, created on the fly while the platform is running. Another question is, does Bonita support HTTP or TLS? Yes, you can activate that, and actually you don't need the subscription edition to do that. You can just apply also on the community edition. It's just a matter of configuring your server. So it has not exactly anything to do with the Bonita installation. It's just a matter of enabling HTTPS on Tomcat or on your application server, be it JBoss, Glassfish, or whatever. And Bonita will follow. Another question, can you rewind the case? Can you go back in history? So the answer is sadly no. There's no way to get back in history. However, if you have to do something like that, we have some set of APIs that allow you to create a process instance in an intermediate step. So let's take an example. If I'm looking at this process, I could stop my current process instance and I can recreate it at a previous past step. But this will be another process instance. Of course, I can assign it to the same user and I can simulate the same data, but it's not exactly rewinding the case. It's another case. Another question, how do you determine if our device is a phone, tablet, desktop, user agent, media queries? So the way this works is actually we're benefiting from Bootstrap. So it looks at the resolution of the screen. And if you look at the UI designer, actually I closed it, so I'm going to open it again. Take one of my pages here. You can look at the help here, which will allow you to look at the device resolution, and this gives you an idea of what your form would look like. And then you can switch to one of the different views to be able to create the best looking form for your specific device. So this is really Bootstrap. This is nothing really specific from us, but it works fine. All right, so I think I'm done with the questions. So I would like to thank you all for attending, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Thanks again, and see you soon. Goodbye.